it love? Is it limerence? Is it an attachment? How am I even supposed to know the difference if it all feels kind of the same? I'm this summer mindset coach. Apparently I like to introduce myself in that manner again. And this is the place you come to learn how to get your shit together. So let's start with the attachment. Attachment really is essentially a dependency on an outside thing, something outside of yourself. Now, I do not want to demonize attachment because, as with everything in this beautiful world, there is a duality to it. So while attachments always have a bit of an unhealthy aspect to them, they do exist for a very good reason. In romantic relationships, and this video is about romantic relationships, an attachment, infatuation, and even a small amount of limerence is incredibly valuable, and it's a must, it's a necessity for you to even have the willingness to stay with this one person, actually get to know them, and actually create a meaningful connection. Usually we just meet somebody who we are attracted to based on their physical attributes and their appearance. And then we need some kind of reason to actually stick around long enough to, well, consider having babies with them. This is our biology. So in a certain amount, to a certain level, you know, in a small, tiny, little, digestible, sensible amount, it's actually very valuable and is kind of the foundation that then can lead to an established, deep, meaningful connection. But since we're human and humans are usually a little bit screwed in their brain and we're all a little bit wounded and traumatized and we have issues and whatnot, we have taken the small little adorable necessary attachment and have blown it up into a Godzilla-style massive monstrous attachment that quite frankly can ruin our lives if we don't do anything about it. If you have experienced trauma in your childhood, if you have mommy or daddy issues and you have not healed any of these, if you have not been to a therapist or better a mindset coach or have attempted yourself to heal them with specific self-help strategies, then I can guarantee you have an attachment, and it's a strong one. You cannot expect to have wounds within yourself carry actual biological, it's real, it's there in your brain, tissue, neural connections, and open nerve endings, and enter in a wholesome, deep, meaningful, long-lasting, healthy connection, relationship with somebody, because you are actually subconsciously driven by the motivation of getting your needs met, needs that you have not gotten met properly, appropriately in your childhood, by this new person. You are using their attention to feel good. You're using their opinion of yourself to think in a certain way about yourself. If you have any kind of complex childhood trauma and post-traumatic stress from that, and it's still ongoing, if you have abandonment issues, rejection issues, if you have crippling freaking anxiety on a day-to-day basis out of freaking nowhere, your current relationship or your love interest, even your SP, is not a love connection. It's an attachment connection. If you are in this category, you have met this person as an opportunity to heal this within yourself, not as an opportunity to get married and have babies. Yes, you can have that. You can even have it with them sometime in the future. But for right now, this person has entered your life and you have created this attraction for your own sake, for the sake of you clearing this up, for the sake of you healing, so that you then are actually able to be a well-established, grounded, mature, beautiful person, independent from other people, who adds another person to their life as the cherry on top of their already incredible Sunday. Now, if you're here and you're still watching this and I did not just trigger you shitless and you unsubscribed and f***ed off, then most likely you fall into the second category, where you have worked on yourself to a certain extent, but now you're just a little bit unsure. Am I ready? Is this for real? Is this too good to be true? Yes or no? I don't know. And for you, I have a few guides, a few like self-check-in kind of thingies to, well, check in with yourself to see if it applies or not. So is the person on your mind, the person that you're interested in or have entered into a relationship with, is that person the SP? Is it the first thing on your mind when you wake up? Are they the last thing on your mind when you go to bed? Are you constantly thinking about them? Are your thoughts constantly evolving around them? Do you constantly wonder what they're doing? Does their behavior, them reaching out to you or not, aka getting a text from them or not, impact your mood? Are you anxious right before you meet them? And I'm not talking about the sweet kind of jolly, oh yeah, I'm gonna see them excitement. I'm talking about the, oh my god, the dreading them. Are you constantly plagued by anxiety around them? Do you actually know how they feel about you? Are you sure about that? Have you been in a situation more often than not where they told you something that you disagree with, that kind of gave you a weird feeling in your stomach, but you just didn't say anything, or you even found yourself agreeing to their opinion even though you felt like this is the biggest BS in the universe? Do you find yourself posing in their presence? Do you find yourself rehearsing sentences and reactions and even little stories and things that you want to share with them 100 million times in your head before you actually allow yourself to open your mouth and speak them? Have you been in situations with them where they were in a bad mood and you immediately ask yourself, was it me? Did I do something? Have you frequently, or at least more than once, regretted the things that you told them? Are you, when you're leaving a situation where you're actually in touch with them, are you then going over everything that happened between the two of you again and then judge it? Recording phone calls, recording conversations, or having the desire to do that also counts in that. Have you been stalking their social media for longer than it's necessary to get the general information on them? Do you struggle talking about them with your friends because you're not really sure how to categorize them? Is it a boyfriend? Is it a girlfriend? Are we just seeing each other? I don't know. Do you believe that this is the love of your life? Do you believe that their weird behavior, if there is any weird behavior, is just because they love you so much that they are afraid? And lastly, the biggest one, do you watch tarot card readings about them? Be honest. So if these things apply to you, then yeah, you have an attachment, okay? And it's okay. We've all been there. Some of us more often than we care to admit. Now let's move on to the next category of limerence. Limerence is like, you know, if attachment is a Godzilla, then limerence is like a super ultra Godzilla. It's like the mother of all Godzillas. It's a pain in the ass, but thank God, limerence is not something that can be sustained for a long amount of time, so limerence inevitably always ends. Now at some point in time our brains are just like, no, if we keep on doing this we're literally gonna die, so let's stop doing this. But falling out of limerence the same way as falling out of like the standard romantic attachment, or any attachment, let's be real, is quite brutal and can really mess with you for a very long time and make you feel broken if you don't have the tools to manage yourself. Of course, limerence is also the product of having a strong romantic attachment, but limerence is a little bit on the tricky side because it can be mutual. There are different versions of limerence. You can be in limerence with somebody that you're not even in a relationship with. You can be in limerence with a star, with somebody that's very inappropriate, like teacher-student style, or somebody that's like way younger than you, or your sister's husband, or something like that. Inappropriate being socially inappropriate. And then it's kind of obvious, and then the questions from the category of the standard romantic attachment apply here too. But limerence is a little bit of an extra category on its own because it can be mutual. Two people can be mutually in limerence. and they can mutually be crazy about each other. And the biggest giveaway for limerence is that you make crazy, radical life decisions on a whim for the sake of that person. So stuff like leaving your marriage and your children to be with this new person, moving across the entire freaking globe for them, quitting your job without a plan, without a structure, without anything, without having a new job. Limerence is really this all-consuming, massive infatuation where the other person and their needs and what they want and whatnot becomes the center of your life, where every decision that you make just completely evolves around the existence and maintenance of this relationship. It is usually very public, it is very loud, it is very outspoken. It's usually also very, very, very sexual, very passionate, very hot and heavy. And it really becomes your main focus. Nothing else matters anymore. I'm gonna link a video somewhere up here, I forgot which side. It's a 2-part live stream on the difference between limerence and manifesting a specific person. So if you suspect that there's something going on in this manner, go check out that live stream. It's 2 parts. Now the last category, actual love. Honestly, if it's true love and it's just love and nothing else, you're not gonna watch this video, because if it is, you know. It's very obvious. It's not super exciting. It is just a very steady stream of appreciation. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, a little bit of attachment, a little bit of infatuation, and even a tiny amount of limerence is necessary for true love to even develop. It's not something that just plops into existence. It is something that gets created by opening your heart, by taking on the other person as an aspect of yourself, and actively making decisions that are benefiting the both of you without compromises. And now here's the thing, here's the crux of it all, to know if it really is love. It has to come from both parties. It cannot be one-sided. True love is never one-sided. Our life experience, the 3D, how people interact with us and what we experience in general on a day-to-day, is always a 100% direct copy of our internal world. So if we have true love for somebody, it gets reflected back at us. It can never, ever, ever be one-sided. It cannot be not reciprocated. This is so important to know. Yes, it has a little bit of craziness. It has the hot stuff as well. It has the passion. It has a little bit of obsession. It has the aspect of, this is my favorite person. I go nuts when I see them. I get excited when I see them. I'm happy when I see them. They add to my well-being. But it also has the aspect that I mentioned earlier of taking the responsibility to make choices in life, actively make choices in life that equally benefit the both of you without having to make a compromise, a win-win. And it needs to come from both sides. What you give in this relationship, you get back the exact same amount. It can be in a different way, especially if you have a traditional heterosexual relationship, then what the woman gives is different from what the man gives. But the energy and the level, the depth and the amount of that, what each person gives, equals the other. It's the same. And this is how you know when it's real love.